We aim to produce an interesting show by giving a platform to many different views and perspectives. That's why the opinions expressed and statements made by our guests are theirs and theirs alone. They do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of our presenters, Due North PR, or the podcast itself. You're listening to True North, a regular roundup of business and community news and developments in Northland. Hello, and welcome to True North. Thank you for taking the time to listen. It's Wednesday, the 3rd of September. I'm Peter Heath. On the show ahead,
people don't notice the absence of things. So you don't notice the absence of noise or the absence of the smell until you go back to what it was and what we're all used to.
I speak with Fiona Bycroft, CEO of Whangārei-based firm Naut, about the wave of transformation in the way boats are powered, from diesel to fully decarbonised, and how a Northland company that few of us really know much about is helping to lead that change. First though, a look at what's happening in business and community news across our region. Small passenger airlines are in line for up to $30 million in concessionary loans from the government's Regional Infrastructure Fund in a bid to help operators weather rising costs and keep vital regional airlinks alive. The loans, designed as short-term relief, will be administered by the Whangārei Regional Economic Development and Investment Unit. The details of each loan will be worked out between airlines and officials. Regional Development Minister Shane Jones said that without intervention, some communities risk losing essential air services, and once fleet capacity disappeared, recovery would be both difficult and costly. He said reliable air services were critical for the economic and social well-being of regional New Zealand, particularly where alternative transport options were limited. It was vital that all regions, not just urban centres, remained connected and included in the national economy. We've reminded listeners before that Minister Jones was highly critical of Air New Zealand for withdrawing its services from Kaitaia when Prime Minister Christopher Luxon was then heading the airline. Small regional carriers say they are under pressure from rising costs, limited access to capital, and yes, believe it or not, lingering post-COVID disruptions. Minister Jones acknowledged that the move was unusual, but said it was necessary to protect connectivity and prevent setbacks to regional development. Associate Transport Minister James Meagher said the funding was intended to stabilise the sector and support regional routes in the short to medium term. It was not designed to meet all the capital requirements of small carriers, but rather to provide targeted relief for essentials such as aircraft leasing, maintenance and debt refinancing. Alongside the loan package, Cabinet has also approved funding for digital upgrades that will enable small carriers to integrate their systems with the booking platforms of major airlines. This upgrade, known as interlining, will allow passengers to book a single itinerary that includes flights on different airlines, including the main carriers. Northport Chief Executive John Moore is to retire in June next year after 19 years in the role. A maritime sector veteran, Mr. Moore, who will be 69 years old when he leaves the post next year, led the port's evolution from a provincial log port to a regional container port, enhancing economic growth and supply chain resilience in Northland and the Upper North Island. He drove the development in 2017 of Northport's Vision for Growth, a comprehensive plan for a 520-metre berth extension and a 17.9-hectare dedicated container handling, storage and logistics facility, consenting for part of which is currently before the Environment Court. The plan also includes a shipyard and floating dry dock at Northport's western end, a proposal which the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment is now managing. Northport Group Limited Chair Julia Hoare thanked Mr. Moore for his leadership and dedication to Northport over his tenure. She said Northport had experienced tremendous growth during Mr. Moore's time at the helm, with remarkably few growing pains. She said the port had evolved from a construction site to one of the country's most efficient maritime facilities, now with some of the greatest potential of any port in the country. Mr. Moore said it had been a privilege to have been able to drive Northport's ongoing construction and diverse business strategy with the support and confidence of the board and enabled by an excellent team. He said that with its twin assets of the port and its extensive land and infrastructure holdings at Marsden Point, Northport Group Limited was in a great position to generate significant economic growth across the region by supporting the wider Upper North Island freight task. Now, if you thought electric cars were changing the face of transportation, wait till you find out what's happening at sea. The marine industry is riding a wave of transformation in the way boats are powered, from diesel to fully decarbonised. And helping to lead that charge is a Northland company that few of us really know anything about. Whangārei-based innovator Naut made waves earlier this year at Electrify Queenstown, a 3-day event that brings together community, business, government, and industry to accelerate the transition to a low-emissions, electrified future. And when I say it made waves, I mean it, literally. It used the opportunity to stun participants with a series of high-powered, high-speed outings on Lake Wakatipu aboard its electric-powered demo boat. With me today to tell us more about what's going on in this sector, Naut's role and the potential for Northland, is Naut's CEO, Fiona Bycroft. Hi, Fiona.
Hi, Peter. Great to be here.
Great to have you. You seem to be having an enormous amount of fun down at Electrified Queenstown, hooning around Lake Wakatipu in your electric-powered boat with the perfect name, I have to say, Game Changer.
Yeah.
What an ideal opportunity to demonstrate the viability of the Naut proposition. Did you have fun?
Oh, look, it was fantastic. Electrify Queenstown is an amazing event in itself. The core part of it is about electrifying homes, so induction cooking and solar panels, etc., which is fantastic. But I think an electric boat is way more fun. And given the smiles on everyone's faces when we were down there, I'd say they agreed. And we had a slight curveball thrown at us when the day before they said, one of the guys down there said, "Oh, can we go wakeboarding behind your boat?" And we thought, we haven't organised for this, but sure, what the hell, we'll give it a go. And so, yeah, ended up with about 5 or 6 people jumping into, I think, 8-degree water and going skiing and wakeboarding. And yeah, it was a fantastic time.
Oh, that's great. I was going to say, it must have been really, really cold, eh?
Yeah, well, I was on the boat well and truly wrapped up, and yeah, there was one guy in his board shorts in the water, and honestly, the smile on his face just said everything. So it was amazing.
Did these guys get the Naut proposition? What is it that you guys do in a nutshell? And did they get it? Was it really well received?
Oh, look, absolutely. So look, I'll take a slight step back in that when you go and buy a boat at the moment, say you're going to go and buy a trailer boat for the family, you make a choice about what the boat is. So what size it is, what shape it is, who's going to build it, what material, all that sort of stuff. But what moves the boat, the propulsion system, is actually something you buy completely separately. So most boats will have an outboard, and some boats will have an inboard. So the difference is whether the engine is mounted outside the boat or inside the boat, hence the different names. Most people know a lot of the names from the current providers. It's Yamaha or Mercury as examples. So what Naut has done is designed and manufactured an electric alternative of this. So what this means is that there's battery packs that go inside the boat where the fuel tank would be currently, and then we have either an outboard that goes on the back, or we can have an inboard system which drives shaft drive, stern drive, or jet units like the famous shot over jet. So we're doing high-powered systems. So this means sort of 300 to 500 horsepower. So it's for those boats that need a fair bit of power, want to go fast. And so one of the key things is that we don't build boats, we electrify boats. But of course, you can't show off our system without a boat, and so we got a custom designed boat built for us, and that's what we demoed down in Christchurch.
Game Changer, eh? What a great name.
Down in Queenstown.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, look, fantastic feedback, which, with people saying that it was both beautiful and powerful, and couldn't really ask for better feedback than that, I'd say.
Okay, so when I wobble off to my local boat dealer and I say I want to buy a Surtees because I would never ever buy the kind of boat that my mate Paul Knight would want me to buy, um, can I then say, okay, Fiona, here's my brand new Surtees. I've told the boat dealer that I don't want an engine in it. Can you stick an engine in it for me? Um, is that doable, or do these systems have to go into bespoke manufactured hulls?
No, the concept is that our system will go into production boats that already exist. Now, what needs to happen in these early days is that we work with the boat manufacturers or the boat builders and give them details on the size of our system. The battery packs are the main thing that need to be housed in the boat. And so what we've found is that boat builders may need to modify the internal structure of the boat slightly to accept the battery packs. But other than that, there's no other changes. As I said, most boats are outboards, and so the outboard itself will just get mounted on the back in exactly the same way.
That doesn't impact the balance of the boat or anything like that?
Oh, there is some focus on where the battery packs go inside the boat. Yeah, and so there is some work that's done with the boat builders to get the best place for that. The ideal is that they're placed in the center of the boat. To keep it stable, and yeah, the boat builder can decide how much fore and aft the batteries go to get that
Okay.
balance.
All right. So your activity on the water down there in Queenstown was very much a case of show and tell, Fiona. Is there general acceptance of the potential for electric powered marine propulsion, or are you meeting some element of resistance to the idea?
Yeah, look, what I'd say is there's a real spectrum. So there's those people that today are just like, yeah, I get it, I'm ready to go, right through to those that I don't think will ever be ready to convert to electric. And of course, that applies not just for boats. We'll see it in cars as well. And so what our focus is on is obviously those people that are ready to go right now. Obviously, we work really closely with them. For the people in the middle that might be a bit skeptical, what we find is we get them on the boat, they experience the power of electric, and quite often they're converted. So it's really getting that feel for the power. The other thing is, the benefits are, the low noise and no emissions. So whether it's air pollution or water pollution. Um, Look, the challenge with that sometimes is that people don't notice the absence of things. So you don't notice the absence of noise or the absence of the smell, until you go back to what it was and what we're all used to. Um, I went out on a charter boat earlier this year and had a fantastic day snorkeling in the water. And it's amazing. And then at the end of the day, we went into a sea cave, and it was beautiful. And then the boat accelerated to go out, and suddenly, all these diesel fumes hit and the sound hit, and it was just like, this is awful, and it doesn't need to be like this. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think where we're at the moment is that a lot of people actually don't realize what exists and what electric propulsion for the marine industry is capable of today.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing, and why we're demonstrating these boats is to really just show people what is possible right now.
I'm assuming the cave was Rico Rico, and it would just be so cool to be in there without any noise. Yeah, yeah. Hey, so look, I know you've got a couple of proof of concept boats, as we've just been discussing. You took Game Changer out. Um, have you built anything commercially yet? Is that on your radar at all to sort of offer people a boat and engine combo?
Oh, yeah, look, 100%. And I used to answer this question. I'd like to take a step back and talk
Sure.
about our beginnings. Um, so I started working here in Whangārei for a company called Mackay. For those of us Northlanders, probably a company we're well aware of. Started with humble beginnings in the appliance business, sort of
Yeah,
9 years ago.
Lindsay Faithful and team. Yeah,
That's exactly
yeah.
right. Yeah, and so now it's a 90-year-old electro technology company that actually electro got into the marine industry 25 years ago. And then moved into marine electrification nearly 10 years ago now. So it's had electric in the early days it was electric hybrid boats, but they've been on the water for over 10 years now. And while I was there, we were asked to do the Southern Hemisphere's first fully electric ferry. So Mackay did the design and install of the electric propulsion system of that ferry. I think that's a fantastic thing for a whangarei company to be involved in.
That's
Um,
Ikarere down in
yep,
Wellington, isn't it?
that's right. So
I,
Ikarere,
s- I s- I- I saw her a month or so ago when I was down visiting my daughter at uni,
yeah,
and I thought of you guys. I thought there's a little bit of Northland floating around on the waterfront in Wellington.
yeah. Exactly. And so she's been operating for 3 years now. Concept started sort of 8 years ago and then been operating for 3, maybe even 4 years now. Um, so anyway, when word got out that we were doing the propulsion system for Ikarere, we had a local boat builder come to us and say, "Hey, I've got a customer that wants an electric outboard and wants to get their boat planing. What should they buy?" And so they were just looking for advice. So we looked around the world to see what was available to get a boat planing, and there was nothing. So we thought, we'll do it ourselves. And so we did that, and the customer was really happy, and it did everything it needed to do. But we just went, we know we can do way better. And there's clearly a gap in the market here. And so that's when Naut was set up. And so myself and another engineer from Mackay stepped out of Mackay into Naut. And Lindsay. And so Lindsay's my business partner in Naut. And so I was actually just doing a count up yesterday, and between both Mackay and Naut, by the end of this year, I think we'll have 12 electric boats on the water. Um,
Oh wow!
yeah, so there's it's certainly an industry that's starting to see more players into it, especially at the really low power end. So if people are looking for sort of 10, 20, even 50 horsepower systems, there's a number of those available around the world, and absolutely innovators in that space in Australasia as well. In the space we're in, as far as we know, we're the only ones innovating in the high powered end. So it's pretty exciting to be in that market.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, Whangarei is an interesting one, right? Are there any specific centers in the Asia Pacific region generally that are particularly widely recognized as centers of excellence and innovation in EV manufacture?
In the marine sector, look, I'd have to say New Zealand is absolutely punching above its weight. I mean, New Zealand, there's not a lot of us, but we certainly love our boating, and we're well known for marine innovation. So if I focused on the marine EVs, I'd love to say New Zealand's leading the way.
Could you say that credibly? I mean, I look at Australia. I mean, somebody in Melbourne just put a massive electrically powered ferry onto the water. I think it was Melbourne. Um, can we credibly say that New Zealand is a leader in this space?
Look, I guess there's different sizes of marine vessels that can be electrified. Sure, the I think it was a 300 passenger ferry that was put on the water in Oz. Look, Yeah, I'd agree. We might struggle at that size, but here in New Zealand, we've had Australasia's first fully electric ferry on the water for, 3-4 years. We've got innovators in low power. We're certainly the only ones across Australasia doing it in our powered section. Um, so
Wow, that's
when
incredible.
yeah.
That's a real feather in your cap. So well done to you guys. So I guess the follow-on question is Northland generally and Whangārei specifically the right place to build the company into the next stages of its growth? Some might say you'd be better off in one of the major urban centres where your market can quickly and easily come and see what you're doing. I mean, you've got Whangārei sort of trolling around the waterfront in Wellington. Why Whangārei?
Yeah.
Or might you say to me, why not Whangārei?
Yeah, why not Whangārei? I guess there's a few different answers to this. Obviously, we've spun out of Mackay, who are proudly Whangārei and Northland headquartered, and so Whangārei absolutely feels like home for us as a business. I mean, it's so easy for us to get down to the water from here. The boat building marine industry here in Whangārei is really, really strong. When we were getting Game Changer built, it was fantastic just being able to pop down the road and seeing all the different businesses that were contributing towards getting that boat on the water. So I think Whangārei is a great place to demonstrate marine skills. Look, as we grow, I'd love to stay here, but let's see where we go from here.
Okay. Well, this is a question for another mate of mine, Ant van Gessel. Is electric propulsion for everyone, Fiona? When would it make sense to stick with a traditional internal combustion system, do you think?
Yeah. Look, the answer is electric's not for everyone. But it's for more than people realise that it is right now. So what our approach is that we work really closely with end users and understand how they want to use their boat. And there's some people or some potential customers that will say, look, the battery tech in particular is not there right now. And we stay in contact with them as over time. And so we've got one project now that is, had been put on park for nearly a year. And we've just had some new information about some new tech that's become available. And we've gone back to them and said, look, we think it's time to open up and explore this some more. So that's looking exciting. So sure, there's some use cases that we think's worth parking at the moment. But then there's a hell of a lot that we're like, if you know what your use case is, how you want to use your vessel, we work really closely with those end users to find a full solution and deliver that to them. So for today, the ideal customer is to be honest, probably a commercial customer where they've got a really known route. They go out relatively often, that could be every day for, say, an aquaculture operator through to 5-10 times a day for a water taxi operator. And yeah, the main thing is they know how they want to use the boat and what that route looks like. And then we'll work with them. Some operators have a preferred boat builder. And so we're able to go to that boat builder and work with their boat builder to provide them a full package. Other operators are like, look, we don't really care about the boat itself as long as it delivers what we need it to deliver. So in that case, we might recommend a full boat package to them. And then we will work with the boat builder and provide that full solution to the operator.
Because there's a ton of shore-based infrastructure that's needed for these things, right? I mean, it's not a cheap. No,
No,
you're shaking your head. There's the assumption for you, right? That there's a ton of shore-based infrastructure. You need big charging points, commercial, sort of industrial scale, electrical outlets, all of that kind of stuff. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Why are you shaking
So,
your head?
so again, it absolutely depends on the use case. Yeah. So we started off with the concept of focusing on a trailer boat. So the idea is you go out and use it during the day. At the end of the day, put it back on the trailer and take it home. Now, the simplest solution is plugging it into a 3-pin plug. If you're getting into ferry size,
Yeah.
sure, you're probably going to need some bigger infrastructure. The idea here is that you want to minimize the charging infrastructure that you
Yeah.
need. And so a lot of that is into the design of the boat so that you minimize the costs. Now, I can go into a whole big discussion about the charging infrastructure for those, for those higher end vessels. To give you an idea, the ferry that we just priced up, we designed it in such a way that the charging infrastructure would cost probably 10% of the budget that they made available for the charging infrastructure
Wow.
because
Okay.
of the design we used. Yeah.
Because that's a perception that just sort of sits there stubbornly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Certainly, it was my perception until now was that
Yeah.
the charging infrastructure was a
Yeah.
barrier to entry. So listen, boating is New Zealand's largest recreational activity, according to your website, with 40% of our population participating each year. Realistically, what's the size of the domestic New Zealand recreational market for electric boats, do you reckon?
Yeah. Look, New Zealanders, yep, like you said, we love our boating. We are a small nation. Okay, so if we look around the world, there's in the order of 200,000 outboards sold every year. That's in the higher horsepower range. So 200,000 globally. New Zealand takes 1 to 2% of
Right.
those sales. So we absolutely want to deliver into the New Zealand market, but really that's not where the scale's going to come. So when we look around the world, the USA has 70% of the boats of our size that we're looking at in the world. So our target markets will be New Zealand, Australia, and USA. Those are the countries that we'll focus on. Interestingly enough, since we've been out at Queenstown, we've had inquiries from Canada, from France, from Indonesia, just to name a few. So we'll
I love
certainly
that.
look globally at other opportunities.
I love that. Okay. So from an overall market perspective, where do you reckon the greatest opportunity for growth is in the electric boat space? Do you think it's recreational or do you think it's commercial?
Yeah,
And where will you be focusing from your
yeah.
perspective?
Again, there's 2 time frames I'm going to answer that question on. So look, there's not really clear stats around the split between commercial and recreational boating, particularly in New Zealand. My guess is that 80 to 90% of the boats are going to be recreational. Okay, so that means that our focus long term has to be on the recreational market. If we focus today, there is already a return on investment available for commercial operators. So again, it's, electric, just like cars, they cost a bit more up front, but your operating costs drop dramatically. So, your servicing costs and your fuel costs can drop anywhere from 80, to 100% if you're running off solar power. So it's a huge drop in your operating expenses. So basically it means the more you use it, the quicker it pays itself back. So again, I come back to, water taxis that are going out multiple times a day. We're seeing some calculations showing a return on investment in the 1 to 2 years. So not only are you getting I'd say a pretty damn quick return on investment, but you're getting those added benefits of the silence, the no pollution, just giving customers
And
that all-round experience.
in the short term, at least, certainly the novelty. I mean,
Yeah.
that's got to be, it's got to be one of your greatest selling points, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so look, uh, moving closer to home, Northland's regional deal submission references an ambition to electrify the region's fishing fleet. Is Naut involved in this initiative at all?
Yeah, look, it's what I'd say it's relatively early on in the discussions. So Mackay's been at the table in those early discussions. My view is that Naught's perfectly positioned to provide the propulsion systems for those, as it goes forward.
Okay, cool. Um, and presumably your future plans entail significant growth and expansion on your part. Do you envisage moving into larger premises, boosting your headcount? Is it too early to talk about anticipated dates? Can you give us some kind of a picture of what's next for Naut?
Yeah, look, I'd say all of the above are going to happen. We're working forward in a really systematic manner. To be honest, we haven't actually officially launched our products as yet. That's coming very shortly. In fact, it may have happened by the time this gets released. We're in the position now whether we've done the testing of our inboard system. Our outboard system, we've done workshop testing. We've still got to do some testing on the water. But yeah, our inboard product is absolutely ready to go. So happy to take orders for that system from tomorrow. Yeah, and
Well, it sounds to me like I got rid of our 6.1 meter Surtees outboard powered combustion in just a nick of time to replace it with something a little bit more novel.
yeah, we're ready to go, Peter. Let's talk.
Fantastic. Listen, Fiona, you've been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Listen, I'm stoked that this kind of stuff is happening in Whangārei, and I'm stoked that it's being driven by such a good crew of people, and such a self-effacing but dynamic group of people, and all the very, very best, and best wishes for everything that's to come for Naut and your team.
Yeah. Thanks, Peter. Look, it's a really exciting time for us, and we're really excited about having more boats on the water, and allowing other people just to feel that excitement of electric propulsion too.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, have a good day, Fiona. Take care.
Thanks, Peter.
And that's all for today's program. Many thanks to Naut CEO Fiona Bycroft. True North will return in 2 weeks' time on the 17th of September, when I'll be speaking with Ngāti Peter Tipene about the state of play in our region, socially, politically, and economically, as seen through the lens of Te Ao Māori. And, as you'd expect, we have a crack at treaty settlement and Māori sovereignty issues. I'm Peter Heath. Thank you for listening. True North is an original podcast by Due North PR. To support our work and to stay on top of Northland business news and analysis, access the pod on Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Please do take that small extra step and subscribe, like, follow, comment, and review, as it helps others find the show. Please also share it with those who may not yet be aware that we exist. As the New Zealand media landscape continues to change, we rely on your support to continue doing what we do. Please let us know what you think about the podcast. Ask questions or make suggestions about topics and people we should feature by emailing us at truenorth@duenorthpr.co.nz. We do read every message.